Let's start the session. Today we are going to discuss these topics on the ESOPs about the broad overview of ESOP along with process and terminology and the provision of the Companies Act which are applicable on the ESOP. That what are the restrictions and provisions we have to keep in mind while implementing the ESOP in any company, and what will be the tax implication of ESOP as per the Income Tax Act, and what will be the accounting treatment of ESOP as per NDS and guidance note on share-based payment, and what are the valuation requirement as per income tax and as per Companies Act, and what will be the strategies by which we can maximize the benefit in ESOP. Hope my voice is clear to everyone and PPT also is visible. Please confirm in the chat box. Okay, thanks. It is the overview of ESOP. ESOP is an option, it's not mandatory, which we are granting to employees so that they can buy the shares at any future date after vesting period at a discount price, which is the exercise price. There are two benefits for a company which are giving the ESOP. First is the company can negotiate at the time of the employing any employee that the they can negotiate on the salary terms that they are giving the ESOP of how this much value, and they are negotiate with the salary. They hire the employee on the low salary. And second, the employee becomes a partner in that company. So employee also work according to that. They have the dedication that if the value of the company increases, the share of the company increases, value of the share increase, then the employee will also get the benefit of the same. तो इस तरीके से यहाँ पे दो बेनिफिट होते हैं कंपनी को. If anyone have any doubt, you can put in the chat box, and after the end of the session, we can take the doubt by unmuting you. This is the ESOP process. First is the grant date. The company prepare the ESOP scheme with all the terms and condition of the ESOP, and the company issue the grant letter to specific employees. All the employees that how much ESOP they are giving to any employee, and the scheme is common for all the employees. In the scheme, they mentioned that how much percentage company can issue. Suppose there is a limit of 10% of the total equity the company is planning to issue by ESOP, and the other terms that what will be the vesting conditions and what will the excess price is there, is the any lock-in period also, all the terms condition mentioned in the ESOP scheme. When the company grants, after that the employee has to earn that ESOP after serving the company in the vesting period. जब एम्प्लॉई इस वेस्टिंग पीरियड में काम करता है उसको ESOP को अर्न करता है. वो अर्न उसमें कंडीशन वेस्टिंग की हो सकती है, सपोज 3 years 5 years. इट कैन बी लिंक टू परफॉर्मेंस, इट कैन बी लिंक टू एनी सेल्स टारगेट, इट कैन बी लिंक टू द any project completion of any project. These can be the vesting conditions. Generally it linked to the period for 4 years 5 years. After completing that period, the employee is eligible to exercise that ESOP. After completing the vesting period, the date on which all the conditions of the vesting has been completed, that is the vesting date. And after completing the vesting period, exercise period started, and in the exercise period, in any time, employee can exercise their ESOP. And after exercising only, the ESOP is only a paper. After exercising only, it is converted into a share. And the company, after exercising, the company have to allot the shares within 30 days. As per Companies Act, then he is eligible to, he's got the shares and he can sell in the market or as per the ESOP scheme to anyone. We can understand these terms by one example also. Suppose a company ABC Private Limited has granted on 31st March 2020 a 1000 ESOP to a employee a month. Vesting period is 3 years, so from March 20 to March 23. And after that, there is a lock-in period of 1 year. And the employee have to pay the exercise price of rupees 10 per share. And the face value of the share is 100 rupees. In this grant date is 31st March 2020 and vesting period employee has to serve from 20 to 23 in the company. If he left out in any period before 23, then he is not eligible to exercise the shares. And the ESOP lapse. Because ESOP is only a paper. After exercising only he can get the shares. Before exercising, it's only a paper. Then in this case, 31st March 23 is the vesting date. And exercise period start after from 1st April 23. And if suppose Aman has exercised the shares on 1st April 23, exercise the ESOP on 1st April 23, then by paying the 10,000 rupees to the company, 1000 ESOP to make 10 rupees is the exercise price. He have to pay 10,000 to the company. After that, he can exercise the shares. He got the 1000 shares of the company. And there is a lock-in period of 1 year. So after 31st March 24, he can sell that 1000 share of the company to anyone in the market. And after selling that, there is a capital gain he has to pay. If anyone have any doubt, you can put in the chat box. Got one doubt from Sumit Aluwalia. Can a private limited company not registered as a startup grant ESOP? Startup registration is not mandatory. Any company can give the ESOP to promoter director holding more than 10%. Now, as per Companies Act, if the promoter or any director is already holding 10%, then he cannot issue, company cannot issue the ESOP to that promoter director who are holding already 10%, more than 10% of the equity. If employee resign in the lock-in period, then if the before lock-in period he's already exercised the shares, he already got the shares. After he already got the shares, then he resigned. There is no problem. He can sell the shares in the market. If he resign during the vesting period or before the vesting date, then he cannot get the shares. Employee have to pay the exercise price. Many companies is a nominal amount. It depends on the company terms and condition. Employee have to pay that amount because it's a 10 rupees and employees are getting shares of rupees 5,000, 10,000 value. This nominal amount he has to pay. Employee taxability we will discuss in this. Taxability we will discuss later. These are the types of ESOP. First is the ESOP, which is the right they are issuing to any employee that he can purchase he can purchase the shares of the company by exercising the option at any time during the exercise price. This is the ESOP which we have discussed already. Second one is the ESOP, employee share purchase plan. In this, company is not issuing any option. The company is simply saying that you can purchase shares of the company directly at a discount price. Company can say that you will get the 500 shares of the company at a 10% or at any specific amount. There is no option. You can directly purchase the shares of the company and sell in the market. There is no option. In phantom stock in SAR, you will get the notional shares, and increase in the value of the shares. The difference on difference, the company will pay in the cash. If company is saying that you will get the notional shares or 500 shares, and the value of that shares is rupees 10 rupees, and after 5 years value of the shares become 5,000, then company will pay in cash directly, and it will be taxable as a salary, because there is no option. Employee will get the cash value according to the increase in the shares value. कंपनी उसको नॉशनल शेयर्स दे देती है इस केस में, और जो भी उस शेयर्स की वैल्यू बढ़ती है ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड, उस वैल्यू को कैश निकाल के उस वैल्यू को एम्प्लॉय का ऑप्शन होता है कि वो शेयर्स ले सकता है और उसका कैश भी ले सकता है. कैश लेता है तो वो सिंपली टैक्सेबल अंडर दैट सैलरी. And there is a different part. This is the part of ESOP only, that company can link the ESOP with the performance or target, so that company can get the work done by the employee, and on that basis company can issue the ESOP. This is the vesting plan generally happen in the companies, that initially the vesting period is a 4 year, and in first year employee will get 25% of the option, and second year 25% of the option. It can be divided in the 4 years. And second plan is the, in first year he get the 10% of the options, second year 20%, 30%, then 40%. And after exercising all the vested options, employee can hold the shares till the lock-in period, if any, and after that he can sell the shares. These ESOP plan generally स्टार्टअप्स में अभी ये प्लान चल रहे हैं इस टाइप के. It can be offered as a package also, and it can be offered after the hiring of the employee also. It depends on the company, because it's not discussed with every employee. Joining is happening on monthly basis, but company is showing ESOP one time, so it can depend on the company. At the time of hiring also, it can be after hiring also. एम्प्लॉय शेयर परचेज प्लान में ऐसी कोई वेस्टिंग पीरियड नहीं होता. उसमें आपको सिंपली एक अमाउंट डिस्काउंटेड प्राइस पे करना होता है. 500 शेयर का सीधा आपको 50 रुपीज में मिल सकता है, तो वो आपको पे करना है, और आपको शेयर मिल जाएंगे डायरेक्टली. कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है उसके अंदर, ना कोई वेस्टिंग पीरियड है. These are the provisions as per the Companies Act which applicable on the ESOP, that before issuing any ESOP you have to get the special resolution in the general meeting, and the company can issue ESOP to permanent employees and directors, excluding independent directors. The company cannot issue the ESOP to independent directors. And the company can issue the ESOP to employees or directors of subsidiary or holding company also. ESOP cannot be issued to promoter director holding more than 10% of the, because they are the promoters and they have already have 10% of the equity, so it's not allowed as per the Companies Act. If there is a listed company, then the company has to comply with the SEBI regulation 2014. And as per Companies Act also, company can specify lock-in periods. It's not mandatory after the exercise period, and vesting period should be minimum 1 year. It can be more than 1 year, but it should be minimum 1 year as per the Companies Act. An option cannot be transferred or pledged. If any employee get the option, he cannot transfer to anyone. If he have to exercise, or otherwise it will be lapse. He cannot transfer to anyone. Sumit, I will check this rule. I will revert to you. As per my knowledge, it is not allowed. We will check and revert. These are the provision of the income tax that employees getting the ESOP, and it is benefit at the hand of the employee. So there must be a taxability in the hand of the employee, and it will be taxable under the perquisite head. And we have to compute the what should be the value that will be taxable in the hand of the employee. अगर किसी कंपनी ने एम्प्लॉय को शेयर ईसॉप दिया है तो उसको बेनिफिट मिल रहा है, तो बेनिफिट कहीं ना कहीं टैक्सेबल होगा ही एज अ परक्विजिट. तो उस बेनिफिट की हमें वैल्यू कंप्यूट करनी पड़ेगी एज पर दिस सेक्शन इन द रूल. द व्हाट विल बी द वैल्यू. तो एज पर सेक्शन 17(2) clause 6, the perquisite include the value of any specified security, include the ESOP or sweat equity shares. There is the same treatment in the sweat equity share also. If the shares ESOP allotted or transferred directly or indirectly by the employer or former employee free of cost or at concessional rate. If अगर हम फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट में ये कंपनी को ESOP देती है और कंसेशनल रेट पे देती है जो एक्सरसाइज प्राइस होता है, तो उस केस में परक्विजिट के अंदर टैक्सेबल होगा ऑन द बेसिस अलॉटमेंट ओनली. बट in subclause C, you can see the value of any specified security. We have to calculate on the fair market value of the specified security on the date of the exercise date as reduced by the amount paid by the employee. जो उस शेयर की फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू है एक्सरसाइज डेट पे, और जो एम्प्लॉय ने एक्सरसाइज प्राइस पे किया है, जो डिफरेंस होगा वो एज अ परक्यूजेड एम्प्लॉइज के हैंड पे टैक्सेबल होगा. और फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू, we have to calculate the fair market value as per the rule 3. This is the rule 3. If the company is listed, then we have to take the average of the opening or closing price on the stock exchange. If the company is listed more than one stock exchange, then we have to take the average price of the stock exchange which records the highest volume. And if the exercise date is a Saturday and Sunday, then we can take the value of Friday, preceding date on which the trading happened on the stock exchange. If company is not listed, then we have to calculate the value of the shares. Report should be we should get the report by the merchant banker on the exercise date only. एम्प्लॉय जब एक्सरसाइज करेगा उस डेट पे क्या वैल्यू है शेयर की, वो हम वैल्यू लेंगे. उसके लिए हमें मर्चेंट बैंकर की रिपोर्ट लेनी होगी to calculate the fair market value, or the fair market value of the ESOP, in this case the fair market value of the shares. No adjustment is required in this as per income tax. This is the summary that as per Income Tax Act Section 1961 is the Section 17 to Clause 6, which we have discussed, and as per Income Tax Bill, the section is the same, but subsection clauses the differ. Same we have mentioned that employee have to pay the taxes difference of the fair market value minus the exercise price he has paid, but it will be taxable on the date of allotment. If the employee has exercised the option on 31st March or 15th March, but allotment happens on the April, then it will be taxable in the financial year of the April, next financial year, not the previous financial year. In the year in which the exercise, it will be taxable on the year in which the allotment happened. And the employer have to deduct, employee cannot deduct the TDS in this case, employee have to pay to the employer the TDS part and the employer can deposit the same. बिकॉज कंपनी तो ईसॉप दे रही है, वो कोई पे तो कर नहीं जिसमें डिडक्ट कर पाए, तो एम्प्लॉई को ही उसको टीडीएस का अमाउंट पे करना पड़ेगा कंपनी को, तो कंपनी उसको डिपॉजिट करा पाए. तो फर्दर हम कैपिटल गेन में जाते हैं इसमें, तो कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन विल बी द फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू, बिकॉज फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू माइनस एक्सरसाइज प्राइस हम परक्विजिट के हैंड पे टैक्सेबल दे रहे हैं एज अंडर हेड सैलरी, और सेल प्राइस माइनस फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू, on the difference of this we have to pay the tax as a capital gain. And the period of holding also we have to calculate from the date of allotment of the shares, from the date of allotment and the from the sale of from the date to the date of sale we have to calculate the short term and long term. Accordingly we have to pay the capital gain tax. This is the rule 38. If it's a listed company, average of the opening closing price. And if it is a non-listed company, we have to get the merchant banker report on the date of exercising. And it can be 6 months prior to the date of exercising, not more than that. It is beneficial for employees. Suppose if employee salary is 1 CR and he is getting the ESOP value of 10 CR, then he have to pay 3.5 to 4 CR as a tax, and so that he can get the benefit of 10 CR. There is a problem with the cash flow at the time of exercise price. This is the problem, but this is the actual fact which the employee have to pay the TDS. This is the same illustration we have used for the income tax purpose. Suppose if the fair market value as per rule 38 is 500 per share on the exercise date, then the 500 into 1000 is rupees 5 lakh, the fair market value, minus 10,000 is the exercise price. Then 4 lakh 90,000 is taxable in the hands of the employee as perquisite, and TDS on the same has to be deposited by the employer. And if employer sell that share at the rate of 800 rupees, तो वही 500 का शेयर वो 800 में सेल करता है, तो 3 लाख का जो डिफरेंस होगा उस पे एम्प्लॉय को कैपिटल गेन टैक्स पे करना होगा. Depend on it can be the short term and long term, depend on the period of holding. और कंपनी को ESOP का एक्सपेंडिचर अलाउ होगा नहीं होगा उसके लिए कोई सेपरेट सेक्शन नहीं है. उसके लिए हम रेसिडुअल सेक्शन में जाते हैं 37(1) में, जिसकी जो कंडीशंस है, इट शुड बी एन एक्सपेंडिचर, इट शुड नॉट कवर्ड इन द प्रीवियस सेक्शन 30 to 36, बिकॉज वो हम उसमें कवर्ड है ही नहीं, हमें क्लियर ही है वो. तो इट शुड नॉट बी अ कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर और पर्सनल एक्सपेंडिचर ऑफ द सेसी. जो इसमें डिस्प्यूट है मेनली यही रहता है कि ये कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर में कवर होगा या रेवेन्यू में कवर होगा। बाकी कंडीशन हमारी क्लियर है जो मेट होती हैं, एंड इट शुड बी इनकर्ड और लेड आउट होली और एक्सक्लूसिव फॉर द बिजनेस पर्पस। तो बिजनेस पर्पस के लिए एक्सपेंडिचर कर रहे हैं, एक्सपेंडिचर भी है, और प्रीवियस जो 30 to 36 सेक्शन में हमारा कवर नहीं होता, और पर्सनल एक्सपेंडिचर भी नहीं है। तो जो हमारा मेनली जो डिस्प्यूट रहता है इसमें कि ये कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर होगा या रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर होगा, हमारी जजमेंट है मद्रास हाई कोर्ट की और दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट की, जिसमें ये जजमेंट आई हुई है कि इट इज अ रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर एंड कैन बी allowed as expenditure for the company. So we can take this view, but it is a disputed matter. We have to take this. टीडीएस का जो इशू आया था कि एम्प्लॉय को बहुत हैवी टीडीएस पे करना पड़ता है, उसको बेनिफिट मिला भी नहीं अभी, 10 CR अमाउंट उसके अकाउंट में आए नहीं है, लेकिन उसको 3.5 CR एज अ टीडीएस उसको पे करना पड़ेगा। तो इसको देखते हुए गवर्नमेंट एक स्कीम लेके आई थी, ईसॉप टैक्स डेफरल स्कीम, बट इट इज available to only the startups registered under section 80 IAC। एक स्टार्टअप रिकग्निशन होता है वो जनरली सबको मिल जाता है, 80 IAC का रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है जो इनकम टैक्स की एग्जम्पशन मिलती है इसमें फॉर द 3 years। तो it is difficult to get this certificate. Who the startup is already having this certificate, he can the company can take their benefit of this. In this case, government has allowed extended by the 48 months after getting the exercise period। उसमें ये है कि विद इन 14 days of the happening of any of the below three events, employer have to pay the TDS on the expiry of the 48 months from the end of the assessment year in which the shares are allotted, and if employee ceases to be an employee of the organization, or if the employee sell the shares, अगर एम्प्लॉय उसको सेल कर देता है शेयर्स को, और वो एम्प्लॉय एम्प्लॉयमेंट वहां से छोड़ देता है, या मैक्सिमम 48 months फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ द असेसमेंट ईयर, इन तीनों इवेंट में से जो भी पहले होगा उसके विद इन 48 days में एम्प्लॉयर हैव टू पे द टीडीएस। तो बाय दिस प्रोविजन कंपनी कैन गेट द एक्सटेंशन ऑफ 4 years, and in 4 years if the employee sell the shares and get the amount, and after that also he can pay the TDS. So there will be no burden of the TDS amount. Yeah, if DPIT approved, then only DPIT approved is the main as the mainly startup recognition. Every company can get this, but the 80 ISE certificate is the separate certificate which is the issued by the income tax department, and on that certificate only company can get the exemption for 3 years income tax exemption. It is the responsibility of the company to get the value, share value on the exercise price. And because the TDS deduction is the responsibility of the company, and before that company has to get the value, so that on that basis company can deduct the TDS. Not deduct the TDS, company can get the TDS from the employee and deposit within the due date. There are some special cases, अगर कोई कंपनी है जो फॉरेन कंपनी अपनी इंडियन सब्सिडरी के एम्प्लॉइज को इसॉप देती है, इंडियन कंपनीज है कोई, तो उसकी होल्डिंग कंपनी के भी इसॉप अपनी एम्प्लॉइज को दे सकते हैं वो, विच इज अलाउड एज पर कंपनीज एक्ट ऑल्सो। इन दैट केसेस वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट द फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द शेयर वैल्यू ऑफ फॉरेन कंपनी, दैट इज द ओनली डिफरेंस। And in that case employee have to disclose it in his ITR under the schedule FA, because it is covered under foreign assets, and he have to disclose it mandatorily to avoid the huge penalty on the Black Money Act. If the SAR is the cash settled, then cash payment will be directly added in the salary and it will be taxable under the head salary. अगर ESOP किसी हम डायरेक्टर को देते हैं जो एम्प्लॉय नहीं है हमारा, तो और एज अ कंसल्टेंट और ऑन सिटिंग फीस बेसिस पे वो वर्क कर रहा है हमारे साथ, तो उस केस में उसके हैंड पे वो एज अ बिजनेस प्रोफेशन इनकम टैक्सेबल होगा अंडर सेक्शन 28(4). और हमने किसी एम्प्लॉय को ESOP इशू किया और वो एक्सपायर हो गया बिफोर एक्सरसाइजिंग द ऑप्शन, and legal hire also can exercise, then it will be taxable under the head income from other sources under section 56 to 10. Hope till here it is clear to everyone. We can give ESOP to directors who are not executive directors. That will be taxable under the business profession because they are not getting salary, they are getting the sitting fees. So in their hand, it will be taxable as a business profession. This is the accounting treatment of ESOP. There are companies on which Ind AS is applicable, and on which the companies on which Ind AS is not applicable, there is the guidance note issued by the ICI on share-based payment. So according to that, there is the accounting treatment. On grant date, there is no accounting transaction, but we have to get the valuation report of the grant rate. For accounting purpose, we have to get the valuation report on grant date, and for taxability purpose, as per income tax purpose, valuation report should be on the exercise date. ग्रांट डेट पे हम वैल्यूएशन रिपोर्ट लेंगे जो कि रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यू से लेनी होगी हमें, और उस जो वैल्यू हमारी आएगी उसके बेस पे हम उसका एंट्रीज होंगी। मैंने इसमें ये जूम किया है कि जो हमारी 500 पर शेयर वैल्यू थी, जो एक्सरसाइज डेट पे वैल्यू थी, वही हमारी ग्रांट डेट पे भी सेम वैल्यू है। तो उसके बेस पे हम जो कंपनी का एक्सपेंस है 5 lakh minus 10,000 is a 4.9 lakh. Company has to book that expense and credit to the share based payment reserve. And it is an entry during the vesting period. Suppose in the first year only 10% of the shares has been vested, so we have to book the 10% of the vested shares by this entry. Expenses हमें वैसे ही बुक करने होंगे जैसे जैसे वेस्ट हो रहा हो, अकॉर्डिंग टू द वेस्टिंग। 10% फर्स्ट ईयर में वेस्ट हो रहा है तो 10% में एक्सपेंस फर्स्ट ईयर में बुक करेंगे, सेकंड ईयर में 20% करेंगे, जो भी उसकी वेस्टिंग कंडीशन होगी उस बेस पे हम उसको ईयर ऑन ईयर एक्सपेंस बुक करते रहेंगे। और एक्सरसाइज डेट पे हमें एम्प्लॉय हमें एक्सरसाइज प्राइस पे करेगा और हम उसको शेयर अलॉट करेंगे। उसकी ये एंट्री होगी, हम बैंक अकाउंट में हमारा डेबिट होगा 10,000 रुपीज उसने पे किया एम्प्लॉय ने, और शेयर बेस्ड पेमेंट रिजर्व जो हमने क्रेडिट किया था वो हम डेबिट कर देंगे, क्योंकि वो अकाउंट हमारा नलिफाई हो जाएगा। फिर हम शेयर इशू कर रहे हैं जिसकी फेस वैल्यू 100 रुपीज थी, तो 1 लाख रुपीज हमारा इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल में चला जाएगा और सिक्योरिटी प्रीमियम में 4 लाख रुपीज चला जाएगा, विच इज द सेम एंट्री विच वी आर डूइंग फॉर द इश्यू ऑफ शेयर कैपिटल। अगर कोई एम्प्लॉय एक्सरसाइज नहीं करता है ESOP, तो उसके बेस उसमें हम शेयर बेस्ड पेमेंट रिजर्व अकाउंट को डेबिट करके रिटेन अर्निंग को क्रेडिट कर देंगे, अगर वो लैप्स होता है तो इन दैट वे हमारा शेयर बेस्ड पेमेंट रिजर्व अकाउंट है वो नलीफाई हो जाएगा और हमारी एंट्री इस तरीके से हो जाएगी। यहाँ तक किसी को भी डाउट है तो वो चैट बॉक्स में मेंशन कर सकता है। So this is the ESOP valuation requirement as per the Ind AS or as per the Income Tax Act. As per the Ind AS, we have to get the valuation on the grant date for booking the expenditure during the vesting period. There should be the report by the registered valuer only. There is a method, the fair value we can calculate the by the Black-Scholes or binomial model by intrinsic value method also. And as per income tax, we should get the valuation report of merchant banker on the exercise date to calculate the value of the proposite so that we can calculate the taxability in the hands of the employee and TDS could be deposited by the company. This is the valuation requirement in the case of ESOP. These are the strategies we can use for the employees or so that employee can take the maximum benefit of the ESOP. That employee should be aware of the vesting schedule and he should continue as employee till the vesting complete and so that he can get the all the shares and get the fully vested shares. अगर वो बीच में रिजाइन कर जाएगा तो उसको वेस्टिंग कंप्लीट नहीं होगी तो जितना वेस्ट उसने किया होगा उतना ही शेयर्स उसको अलॉट होगा नहीं तो वो लैप्स हो जाएगा और उसके बेस पे अगर कंपनी कोई 80 आईएसी में रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है तो उसको उस तरीके से प्लान कर सकते हैं कि हमारा जो एक्सरसाइज डेट है और हमारा सेलिंग ऑफ द शेयर्स शुड बी इन द सेम फाइनेंशियल ईयर सो हमारा उसी फाइनेंशियल ईयर में टीडीएस हम डिपॉजिट कराएं उसी ईयर में सेल हो जाए तो हमें जो कैश फ्लो का बर्डन थोड़ा सा हम इसमें कम कर सकते हैं तो हम उसमें एक्सरसाइज जो है हमारा थोड़ा डिले कर सकते हैं कि हम एग्जिट हमारा कब होगा तो उसके अकॉर्डिंगली वी कैन एक्सरसाइज द ऑप्शन or during the period we can track the company performance by the financial result or any other internal report if we are getting detail that company value is going up we can hold till we feel that the value will be going up otherwise accordingly we can take the decision that company is going up and company is going down accordingly we can plan the exit to take the maximum benefit of the value. And to take benefit of the long-term capital gain, employee have to hold the shares for 1 year for listed company and 2 year for unlisted company, so that the taxability come under the long-term capital gain and the rate will be 12.5%. बट इन अगर इस केस में हम उसको ज्यादा होल्ड करते हैं तो टीडीएस की लायबिलिटी आपको पहले ही पे करना पड़ेगा आफ्टर दैट यू कैन होल्ड द शेयर्स एंड गेट द टीडीएस बेनिफिट सो सभी इन सब चीजों को ध्यान करके केस टू केस बेसिस पे हम देख सकते हैं एम्प्लॉय कि कैसे उसको टैक्स सेव कर सकते हैं these are the strategies to for the company to take the maximum benefit in the ESOP. Company can use the gradual vesting that he can company can take the performance based, target based, project based. So company can get the work done by the employees and it will be better for the company if it can be linked with the performance. तो ये कंपनी का इस केस में ये बेनिफिट रहेगा और कंपनी एक रिजर्व क्रिएट कर सकती है एट द टाइम ऑफ एग्जिट कंपनी हैव टू बाय बैक द shares that there will be a good outflow of the cash flow. Company should create the reserve fund for that to plan the cash flow. And vesting of the ESOP also company can plan according to the profitability that in the if there is a higher profit we can plan the vesting in that year so that our expenditure will be increase in that year and we can save the income tax. We can reduce our expenses also. So our session has been completed. If still you have any doubt, we can take. For specific project is mentioned in the section 192. on which in which as per which the company had to deduct the TDS. You can check the section 192. There is mentioned that the condition according to which the deferment scheme is company can avail. Company can create the trust also. Then these work will be administered by the trust, and the shares also will be allotted by the trust. This is a separate procedure, complete procedure, which complete change in the case of trust. If anyone want to discuss any doubt, we can unmute to him, or our session is ended. I didn't get your question. Is of whole without trust. Yeah, on this query, I will check and I will revert you. If anyone have any doubt, you can raise hand also. And you can contact me personally also if you have any doubt. I mentioned my details. This is the phone number and email ID. So thank you. We can end the session if you don't have any doubt. Thank you so much for joining the session.